I'm Nyesha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Good morning and welcome to the challenge. As always, we like to first and foremost thank God for this opportunity and thank you, the viewers, for tuning in. This morning's challenge, we want to talk about charter revision. This is grassroots TV at its best at accesstv.org, and we want to make sure that our viewers are paying attention to the political process. Charter revision in the city of Hartford is coming up on or in this general election. Charter revision is the operating instructions, if you will, for the city. And it would seem that so many of us aren't really clear on what those operating instructions say and how they determine what takes place within the city of Hartford. So we've asked the chairman of the Charter Revision Commission to come in this morning and spend some time with us and to give us some specifics, if you will, hearing it directly from the source on what charter revision means to all of us and how this charter revision change that occurs during this general election will impact all of us. We're with former state representative Ken Green, a dear friend, somebody who has dedicated a large part of his life to public service. We know him well. We think Ken's heart has always been for what's best for this community. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning. It's glad to be here.
Good to have you. Charter revision. Now, we've got this huge issue coming up on, or these huge issues to deal with on this ballot for the general election that deals with charter revision changes, which you and a committee of 10 or more, 11 of you decided on over the last
year and a half, actually.
Year and a half.
Yeah, it's been. I think we started in March of April 2012.
Wow.
So we were meeting for quite a while. We submitted a report to the city council in June, and there was some action on it. And now we have it, as you said, on the ballot for the general election on Tuesday.
Wonderful. A lot of work went into this stuff. I mean, it seems to me that you and your commission made every effort to involve as many folks in this process as possible. Was that the case?
We tried to. We had a number of public hearings. All of our meetings that we held at City Hall before our meeting was a chance for the public to make comment. We held some events at the library. Some of us went to some of the NRZs to explain to any other group that wanted us to come in. We had a website, and so we put information on the internet for people to see. So we tried to do an outreach to as many people as possible. In my opinion, we did not get the kind of responses that I would have hoped for in terms of people getting in the beginning to give us comments so that we can direct some of our recommendations.
What was your turnout like at some of those meetings? Were you getting 5, 10, 20 people to come? What was it?
Anywhere from 5 to 10 at some of our meetings.
Okay.
When we made some specific recommendations and we made our first draft, we got a few more people because people saw some of the recommendations and there was some response and some reaction to some of the things we were suggesting. And the biggest, there was a couple of major ones. There was a couple that got a somewhat of a larger reaction, and that was an issue about the register of voters, some issues about the treasurer's office salaries of various local elected officials. So those things created a little bit more of a reaction from the residents than others.
Okay, so the interest of most of the people who came to those meetings, who represented, quite frankly, the cross-section of people throughout the city, neighborhood by neighborhood, I'm presuming their interest primarily was in the positions of people who are charged with handling specific functions within city government, namely the registrar's office and the city treasurer's office and the role of the mayor. Is that what, is that what we're saying?
I would say that generally, yes, that's true. We had a number of people speak on a lot of different issues, so it wasn't just those three, but those seem to have created or elicited a great response.
Okay.
You know, we had a lot of issues in terms of the pension committee, retirement, internal audit, whistleblower, the function of the Board of Education. So we had a number of issues that we addressed. And when we made our recommendations, and as you can see in the questions that will be put forth before the voters on Tuesday, there's three questions because two of those questions we think, I think, has some issues with the state law, so that we have to sort of make sure that we're in conjunction with the state law in terms of what we can do. So the city council decided to separate the three questions, which the commission really didn't have a big part in terms of how the questions would be formulated and presented to the city. We made our recommendations. They took those recommendations and decided to make three questions out of them.
Oh, so it wasn't the commission that decided that those were how the three questions would be worded on the ballot. That was actually done by the city council.
Maybe the city council with their legal advice, possibly the corporation council, the mayor's office, and the city council worked together to decide how they wanted to formulate the questions. And they decided to separate the recommendations into those three questions. And so the first question basically, well, I think it might be better to go with the two questions that were separated and then the rest. So we made a number of recommendations. They took two of our recommendations and separated those into two separate questions. One of those questions had to do with public financing of locally elected officials, so that when you run for local office, whether or not there should be some form of public financing to help those candidates run. So that's a separate question, and that has something to do with whether or not the state will allow that. And then the third question has to do with the register of voters, in terms of whether or not the register of voters have to be an elected position or could it possibly be an appointed position. And again, that has to do with some rules of the state, because it's state law that monitors in terms of what happens with the register of voters. So those two, and so that question on the register of voters was separated from our recommendations. So between the public financing issue and the register of voters issues, those two questions are separate questions. All the other recommendations is in the first question. So you could support, let's say, all the other recommendations and possibly not support public financing, not support our recommendations on the register of voters, and you will have an opportunity to vote separately on those questions. Okay.
So let me try, if I can, to summarize what the three questions are that are on the ballot in this general election. The first question has to do primarily with the office of the mayor, the treasurer, and the salaries, and also to deal with auditing of city government, the process, if you will, ethics.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first question.
And there's a couple of other issues in terms of appointment of a retired member of the Hartford Employees Union to be on the pension committee. We talk about strengthening the ethics commission with a whistleblower protection in that. We talk about the salaries of the mayor and the treasurer, where we set the mayor's salary on the same level as an appellate judge, and the treasurer's.
Which is about what amount is that?
That's about 150. It's probably between 150 and 155,000 dollars per year.
And how much is he making now?
About that much now.
Okay.
but
so it's kind of semantics almost.
Right. And what happens is that we recommended a salary of the treasurer based on a Superior Court judge, which is about 140, 145.
Which is
beginning. I think that's a little more than what they're making now. I think they might be making a little less than that. Okay. But there was a lot of political discussion about what the salary of the treasurer should be. And so we thought we would take the mayor's salary which is already out of the political arena, but take the treasurer's salary out of the city council decision in terms of what that person should get, and just make it a straight salary. That way we can leave the politics out of it. So we're recommending that. There's a couple of other recommendations in terms of the Board of Education. Currently, the mayor has the ability to appoint 5 members of the Board of Education, and the mayor could also appoint themselves and have a vote
now,
on
this
that.
is a part of question 1, too, on the ballot.
This is all of these are part of question 1
on the ballot.
So question 1 sort of takes 8 or 9 different issues,
okay,
and just say here's all the other issues except those 2 that I mentioned earlier: the campaign finance issue and the register of voters.
Well, we want to talk about those too, but I want to make sure that we're clear on exactly what question 1 on the ballot will talk about and what it's pertaining to. So again, let me try, and give a quick summary. It's the mayor's salary, if you will, the treasurer's salary, auditing, ethics, if you will, and now what were the other things that you said that we
some appointments to
general
appointments to boards and commissions.
Okay. Board of Education.
Board of Education, in terms of the mayor not having a vote on the Board of Education, so the mayor can appoint 5 person. They can sit on the board. The mayor can sit on the Board of Education as a non-voting member. The one of the other things that we are recommending is that the city council has a say in appointment of people on boards and commissions, which right now is just the mayor's position. The budget. There's a lot of questions on whether or not the city council had the ability to have line item veto of the mayor's budget. We make it clear that the city council can do that.
That's all in question 1.
That's all in question 1.
All in question 1. So
question 1 is an all-encompassing question.
Wow. That's a lot to cover in one question on the ballot.
So I'm a little disappointed that the public was not just sort of following all of these issues and understanding all of the recommendations we were making. In the last couple of weeks, I probably got more phone calls about the questions on the charter revision than I gotten in the whole year.
That's amazing. And that's because now that it's coming up for a vote, people are suddenly, being galvanized into thinking that it's either one way or the other, and realizing that, this is a very powerful document, this charter revision is, and it is, in fact, how the city will be operated and who those and what those specifics are about the operation of the city budget. Now, question number 2, campaign finance reform. Now, they separated that one. Finance reform, is that the best way to summarize it? How do you add some more to
well, I think that's a good way to
summarize
it. Basically, we have a state system where we finance candidates that's running for state office through a public financing concept. And so the idea is for folks who are running for city election, a way that they can utilize public funds to help them with their campaigns. So again, there's a lot of opinions about whether or not public funds should be used for individuals to run for campaigns. There is some argument that, can the city afford to do that? The question basically will suggest would not suggest, I think, require the city council, if this question passes, require the city council to ask the state, can they be part of this demonstration project where they can do local public financing of candidates? Does
it talk at all about amounts?
It doesn't say anything about amounts. It doesn't say anything about the way you do it. It doesn't say anything. It just says that if this passes, the city council has to say to the state, we want to do this, and then they have to decide how they want to do it, and the state has to agree.
So it's, even though it's maybe voted a yes in terms of it's something that they want, if the state doesn't agree to it, then it's kind of a moot point.
Exactly.
All right.
Because they would have to get approval, because it's only 3 municipalities in the state will be allowed to do this based on the state law for a demonstration project. So you have to ask the state, and then they have to approve your program.
And the third question on the ballot is?
There's a question about the appointment of the register of voters.
Wow. Now, here's the one that everybody seems to be, for whatever reason, convinced that we're losing the office of the register of voters. That somehow it's going to go away, and that I guess the citizens will have no input on who those people will be. Is that the case?
That's not the case.
Okay. All right.
The Register of Voters office will not be eliminated.
All right. Okay.
You will have a Register of Voters.
That's not even what you're recommending.
That's not even what we're recommending.
Okay.
And first of all,
right.
the office of the Register of Voters is created through state law, so nothing can change. Really,
I thought so.
Nothing can change with the office of the Register of Voters in terms of eliminating it, how you manage it, who gets appointed, without some agreement from the state in terms of you're following the laws of the state. So
sure.
We're not eliminating the Register of Voters office. And currently in Hartford's charter, and this was done years ago.
Right.
And again, this is one of those things that people might not have paid attention to. Is
right.
that based on the state law, if the state law changes and allow any municipality to either go from an elected Register of Voters office to an appointment, that's something that the state can do really at any time. I was a former state representative. If I wanted to change the state law, I put in a bill,
right.
and I lobbied to try to get it passed.
Right.
And any state representative, state senator can do that now.
Sure.
So it's possible that the laws around the Register of Voters can change at the state level, which has nothing to do with the city of Hartford. But what we're recommending is this: that if the state law allow that the Register of Voters office should be professionalized,
right.
They should have some operating procedures and standards,
right.
And that it could be there could be a Register of Voters appointed by City Council.
So all you're hoping for is that whoever the registrar is comes in with a background, if you will, and with a level of professionalism and skills, if you will, to operate the office.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
And there was some question about, well, if you made a political appointment, say City Council appointed the Register of Voters, that's a partisan position. Again, I do believe in checks and balances, and I do believe that we can't just have a majority party manage sort of everything.
Right, right.
And a Register of Voters would just really be the administrator. I would see this as the administrator to make sure that elections are done fairly, that the laws are being followed.
Right.
And if they needed deputies to make sure that the interests of minority parties and majority parties were made, that Register of Voters could have deputies to ensure that kind of thing, which happens now. Actually, it's very political.
Right.
And you have Democrat registers and deputies,
right,
Republican registers and deputies, and now working families.
Much too partisan to represent this democracy that we all talk about.
I'm not so sure the office is managed
right
properly, professionally,
and as efficiently
as what you would want with 3 administrators.
Yes. Well, we unfortunately, boy, our time goes by fast. This has been the challenge this morning. We have talked a little bit about charter revision. We hope that Ken will come back for a follow-up, and in fact, we're counting on it. But this will end this show in this segment. But we'll talk more about charter revision. We have to. People need to understand what's happening in their city and how it impacts all of us. I want to thank you for this particular segment, and thank you for your time. Stick around.
Will do.
All right, we're going to talk some more about charter revision and what it means to the citizens of the city of Hartford. I want to thank you for tuning in to this segment of the challenge, and we're looking forward to the next one to talk about charter revision in more detail or at length. Remember, be blessed.